next topic, that is measuring instrument. Measuring instrument. In NEET exam, only one question has been asked from screw gauge, but we'll discuss about vernier caliper also. Maybe they may ask this problem also. Okay, measuring instrument from the name itself, like we have a scale. So if you look at the scale, a normal scale which we are having. Okay, what is the minimum measurement which we can do from that scale? The minimum measurement which we can do is 1 millimeter, or we can say 0.1 centimeter is the minimum measurement which we can do by the normal scale which we are having. But if we have to measure if I have to measure some object whose length is 0.5 millimeter, can we able to measure that object with the help of the normal scale which we are having? No, we cannot measure that with the help of normal scale. Okay, therefore we can say that for a normal scale or for a centimeter scale, this is an error. That the object cannot measure 0.5 millimeter, it is an error. And this error is known as least count error. So least count error is basically what? It is a minimum measurement which an object can, which a scale or a measuring instrument can do. So in the case of normal centimeter scale, the minimum measurement it can do is 1 millimeter or 0.1 centimeter. It cannot measure the object whose value is less than 1 millimeter or 0 0.1 centimeter. So this is an error which is there in the scale. To overcome this error, we have an instrument that is known as vernier caliper. Now you can look at this vernier caliper, which is there. Now if you look at the design of the vernier caliper, this is the main scale. Okay, main scale like the centimeter scale which we are having in our home. That is the main scale or centimeter scale. Now over the main scale or centimeter scale, we have a sliding scale. That sliding scale is known as a vernier scale. Vernier scale. Now this vernier scale can move along the main scale. Okay. Now if you look at the design here, these are the two external jaws which are present. Now if you look at this, these two jaws are fixed, which cannot be moved, and the remaining two jaws can be moved. Okay, and it can move along the it can slide along the scale. Now these external jaws are used for measuring the outer diameter of any object. So if I have to measure something, we are placing the object between the two jaws, and from there we can get the value of the diameter or dimension of that object. These upper jaws are used to measure the internal diameter of any object. It is used to measure the internal diameter. This is used for external jaws are used for measuring the outer diameter. And we have a depth measuring blade which can measure the depth of the object. Okay, so depth can be measured with the help of the scale which is there at the bottom of the vernier scale. Okay, now the advantage of vernier scale is that we can measure the least count of this instrument. The least count of this instrument is how much? It is 0.1 millimeter, which means it can measure up to 0.1 millimeter or 0.01 centimeter. So it is the least count of the vernier scale. Okay, so it is 0.1 millimeter or 0.01 centimeter. Okay, now how to find the least count of the vernier scale? The least count of the vernier scale is equal to one main scale division minus one vernier scale division. So that is the formula for the least count of the vernier scale. That is one main scale division. That is one main scale division minus one vernier scale division. Now, if you look at the normal centimeter scale, we'll find that the one main scale division of normal scale is how much? 1 millimeter, which we can see in the figure itself. So one main scale division will be equal to 1 millimeter. But we don't know what is the value of one vernier scale division. But one thing we can see here, if you look at this diagram carefully, then we can see that the vernier scale is divided into 10 equal parts. And we found that the 10th part of the vernier scale is coinciding with the 9th part of the main scale. So let us assume that the one vernier scale division value is x. The one vernier scale division value is x. So if it is x, then we can write here as what? The 10th division of the 1 year scale into x will be equal to 9 division of 1 year scale, that is 1 millimeter. So from here we get the value of x. X is what? The one year scale division. So one year scale division is equal to 0.9 millimeter. So one year scale division is 0.9 millimeter. One main scale division is 1 millimeter. So the least count of this 1 year scale is equal to one main scale division, that is 1 millimeter, minus one year scale division, that is 0.9 millimeter, which will come around 0.1 millimeter, which means this the 1 year scale can measure up to the magnitude of up to dimension up to 0.1 millimeter, which was not possible when we are using the centimeter scale, because in centimeter scale the minimum measurement which we can do is 1 millimeter. We cannot measure beyond or less than 1 millimeter, but in least count we can measure up to 0.1 millimeter. Okay, now how to measure the any object? Okay, now look at this measurement using 1 year scale. Look at this figure which is there. Now this is the main scale. The upward scale is main scale, and this below scale is 1 year scale. Okay. Now if you look at the first figure which we have drawn, if I have to find the dimension of any object, we are placing the dimension of the object between the jaws. So when you are placing between the jaws, the jaw will slide over the main scale. Okay. When it will slide over the main scale, the condition would be somewhat like this. If you see here, this zero of the 1 year scale, okay, this is a zero of the 1 year scale. Fine. Now this represent that this 1 year scale would have slided on the main scale. Now to measure this 1 year scale, the true reading of the 1 year scale will be equal to first main scale reading plus least count into 1 year scale reading. Main scale reading into least count into 1 year scale reading. That is the reading of the 1 year scale. Okay. Now how to find the main scale reading? Now to determine the main scale reading, we have to look at the value which is on the left side of the zero of the 1 year scale. So if you look at the left side of the zero of the 1 year scale, what is the value of the main scale reading? That is 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. So this is the main scale reading, that is 3.3. So the main scale reading will come as 3.3 plus the least count. What is the least count which we have found? That is 0.1 millimeter. So the least count of this instrument will be equal to 0.1 millimeter into 1 year scale reading. Now how to find this 1 year scale reading? For 1 year scale reading, we have to find the scale, the 1 year scale reading which is coinciding with the main scale reading. Now if you look at this 1 year scale, 0 is not coinciding with main scale, 1 is not coinciding, 2 is not coinciding, 3 is not coinciding, but we can say fourth of the 1 year scale is exactly coinciding with the main scale reading. So this will be your 1 year scale reading, which means the 1 year scale reading will be 4. Okay, so from here we get the value of it is in centimeter, sorry, it should be 0.01. Okay, it should be 0.01. Okay, so the least count will be 0.01 centimeter. Here I have taken millimeter. Okay, so main scale reading will be 3.3 plus 0.01 into 4. So from here we get the reading of the 1 year scale, that will come as 3.34 centimeter. That is how we are finding the reading of the 1 year scale. Okay, to find the reading 1 year scale, the reading is main scale reading plus least count into 1 year scale reading. Main scale reading, to determine the main scale reading, we have to look at the left side of the zero of the 1 year scale. The left side of 0 1 year scale is 3.3, which is the main scale reading. Then we have to look at that value which is coinciding with the main scale reading. So if you look at this, fourth is coinciding with the main scale, so 4 into least count, that is 3.34. Okay, that is how we are finding the reading of the 1 year scale. Okay, now next is there is possibility that there are some errors. Now if you look at this first case, if I attach both the jaws, if I attach both the jaws, then then in exact condition, like in this condition, the zero of the 1 year scale should be coinciding with the zero of the main scale if both the jaws are coinciding. But there are some there are some possibilities, or there is, because of repeating use of the instrument, there is possibility that the zero of the 1 year scale, the zero of the 1 year scale is not coinciding with the zero of the main scale. Then that type of error is known as zero error. Okay, fine. Then that type of zero is known as zero error. Now look at this condition now. See, if you look at the three scale which I have drawn here, so from here we can say that the main scale reading from the scale 1 will be equal to how much? It would be equal to say 3.3, 3.3, and then again plus into least count, that is 0.01 into 4, which means 3.34. This is the reading when there is no error in the instrument. But if there is some error, this is the reading when there is no error in the instrument. But if there is some error, error means positive error. Positive error means if the zero of the 1 year scale is on the right side of the zero of the main scale. So if you look at this, this is the zero of the 1 year scale. This is the zero of the main scale. So if the zero of the 1 year scale lies on the right side of the zero of the 1 year scale, then that type of error is known as zero error. And how to find the value of zero error? Again, we have to look at that reading of 1 year scale which is coinciding with the main scale. So if you look at this reading is coinciding, which means positive error will be 0.04. Okay, now the exact reading, or we can say the true value, will be equal to the reading which we have got if there is no error minus positive error. So positive error is always subtracted minus positive error. Okay, so reading, exact reading is 3.34, 3.34 minus positive error, that is 0.04. So we get the reading as 3.30 centimeter. So we get the reading as 3.30 centimeter. That is when there is a positive error. When there is negative error, then the true value will be equal to reading plus negative error. Now again we look at this point. Negative error means what? When the zero of the 1 year scale is on the left side of the main scale, then it is known as a negative error. And what is the magnitude of error, negative error? Again, we have to look at the coinciding part. So if you see, the fourth part of the 1 year scale is coinciding with the main scale, this part. Okay, therefore negative error will be point minus of 0.04. So we get true reading is 3.34 plus 0.04 minus become plus. So the reading will come as 3.38 centimeter. So negative error is always added with the instrument, and the positive error is always subtracted from the instrument. Okay, and what is positive error? When the zero of the 1 year scale is on the right side of the zero of the main scale. Negative error means when the zero of the 1 year scale is on the left side of the zero of the main scale. Okay, so there is no question asked by in the Vernier caliper, but there is possibility of asking, so you can learn from here. Okay, now next instrument is screw gauge. Okay, so if you look at this screw gauge again, now what is the advantage of screw gauge? The advantage of screw gauge is that it can measure, the 1 year scale can measure up to the least count of the 1 year scale can measure up to how much? 0.1 millimeter. The screw gauge can measure up to, the least count of screw gauge is 0.01 millimeter, which means it can measure more exact value as compared to the 1 year scale. So if in the problem if they ask you that we have three instruments like normal scale, 1 year scale, and screw gauge, which will give you the more accurate value. So the more accurate value will be given by screw gauge, because it can measure up to 0.01 millimeter, or it can measure up to 0.001 centimeter. Okay, fine. So that is what a screw gauge is, much more precise than screw gauge is much more precise than 1 year scale. Okay, now again if you look at this, we have the spindle, we have the frame here. So if I have to measure some object, I will place between this anvil and the spindle. Okay, I will place some object between anvil and the spindle. To place the object, we have to rotate this ratchet. Okay, we have to rotate this ratchet. So when we rotate this ratchet, we have a circular scale which is sliding on the main scale, and as well as rotating on the main scale. Okay, so it is sliding as well as rotating. So if you look at this, if I have to measure something, I will place some object between the anvil and the spindle. Then I will rotate this ratchet. I will rotate this ratchet. As I am rotating this ratchet, this circular scale will slide over the main scale, and after some time will stop. Okay. Now this the scale which is sliding is circular scale. This is the main scale. Okay. Now if you look at this here, again, to take this reading of the instrument, again we have to find the least count of the instrument. Now the least count of the least count of the screw gauge is given by, the least count of the screw gauge is given by pitch by number of division. Number of division. Now what is pitch here? Now we have to understand here. Let us draw the circular scale and the main scale. So I'm just drawing the circular scale and the main scale. This is the circular main scale. This is the circular scale. This is rotating. Now pitch means if this circular scale has 100 divisions, if the circular scale has 100 division, and if we completely rotate the disk, if we completely rotate the circular scale, so if I completely rotate circular scale from 0 to 100, then how much linear displacement it is there on the sleeve, on the main scale. Okay. So how much linear displacement is there when we rotate a complete rotation of circular scale is known as pitch. Okay. So if you look at this case, when we completely rotate, like if we completely rotate one circular scale, it will displace by one uh, 1 millimeter or 0.1 centimeter. So pitch will be equal to how much? 0.1 centimeter divided by number of division. If you look at here, how many divisions are there? 100 divisions are there. So divided by division. So we get the least count of the instrument as 0.001 centimeter. Okay. You do understand the least count of the screw gauge, which is when you rotate the circular scale, completely rotate the circular scale. Okay. How much it is displaced on the linear scale. So if you look at this figure here, if we look at this figure here, if I completely rotate the circular scale, it gets displaced by how much millimeter? 0.1 centimeter. It will displace by 0.1 centimeter divided by number of division. Number of division is 100, so the least count will come as 0.01 centimeter. Okay, that is the least count of the screw gauge. Now, how to take the reading in this case? Now, if you look at this in the figure itself, the exact value will come at 0.562 0.562 centimeter. Now look at this. If you look at this figure here, we have placed some object between the anvil and the spindle like this. Okay, so when we place this object, this circular scale would have slided over the main scale. Now, if we see here, which value is visible in the main scale reading? That is 5.1 or 0.5, sorry, 0.5 centimeter is visible to us. Okay, so it should be what? 0.5 centimeter is visible to us. Okay, so the reading in the screw gauge will be equal to main scale reading plus least count into circular scale reading. Circular scale reading is equal to the reading of the instrument. So if you look at the main scale reading, it would be equal to how much? 0.5 centimeter. Okay, 0.51 centimeter into which part is coinciding. So if we say 12 part is coinciding, so we get the reading here as 0.55 plus 0.01 plus 0.01 into 12 into 12, 0.01 into 0.001 into 12. So we get the value of the reading here as 0.562 centimeter. So we get the reading here as 0.562 centimeter. So in this way, we are finding the value of the circular scale division. Okay. Now again, this will have error also, like the least like the screw gauge. It also has the error. So basically, no zero error means what? When the circular scale zero lies on the exact straight line of the main scale reading. You can see here the circular scale 0 is lying on the main scale reading. Then there is no zero error in this case. Now positive error means when the zero of the one circular scale is lying below the reference point, when it is lying before the below the reference point. And what is the value of the least count? If you look at the value of the least count, which part of the circular scale is coinciding? It is 1 2. Second part is coinciding. So the zero error will be equal to 2 into 0.01 centimeter, or we can say 0.002 centimeter. This is the positive error in the screw gauge. Okay, negative error. If you look at the negative error here, negative error means when the zero of the vernier scale, circular scale, lying below the zero of the vernier zero of the circular scale is above the reference lines of the main scale, and this is known as negative error. So when it is negative error, the negative error is given by least count, that is 0.001 centimeter, into total division. Here total division is 50 minus 45. Okay, so least count measurement is total division 50 minus 45, which will come as 0.005 centimeter. So negative error will come as 0.005 centimeter. Now if we have to find a true reading, in true reading the reading which we have taken minus positive error, and in the case of negative error, true reading will be equal to reading plus negative error. Okay, in this way we can find the value of the screw, the reading of the screw gauge. Okay, now let us do this problem here. You can read the problem and I'll give you 2 minutes to solve this problem. A student measured the diameter of the small steel ball using a screw gauge of least count 0.001 centimeter. The main scale reading they have given as 5 millimeter. The zero of the circular scale coincide with 25 division above the reference level. Okay, 25 division above the reference level. If the screw gauge has a zero error of minus of 0.004 centimeter, find the correct diameter of the ball. Okay, so I'll give you 2 minutes to solve this problem. Solve it now. So this was the problem which was asked in a 2018 NEET exam. So you can see that the problem can be asked from screw gauge. Let us solve this now. What I told you, the diameter of the ball, the diameter of the ball will be equal to what? It will be equal to main scale reading, plus vernier scale reading, circular scale reading into least count plus zero error. Why we are adding here? Because it is a negative error. So negative error are always added and positive error are always subtracted. Okay. So that is the exact diameter. Diameter of the ball will be equal to main scale reading plus circular scale reading into least count plus zero error. Why we are adding here? Because it is a negative zero error. Okay. Now the diameter of the ball, say D, will be equal to, what is the main scale reading here? Main scale reading here is 5 millimeter. So we can write here 5 millimeter. Now circular scale reading. Now if they are telling you that the zero of the circular scale division coincide with 25 division above the reference line, which means the circular scale reading will be equal to 25 into least count is 0.001 centimeter. Either you convert in millimeter or you put in centimeter itself. So we are converting this in uh, 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 millimeters. So if we convert in millimeter, it will be what? 0.01 millimeter. Am I correct or not? 0.01 millimeter or simply, or we can do like this also. Wait, we can write the main scale reading is given in millimeter. Can we write this in centimeter? So main scale reading I am written as 0.5 centimeter. Okay, wait. Okay, the diameter of the ball will be equal to main scale reading. Now main scale reading is in millimeter. We have to convert in centimeter. That would be equal to 0.5 centimeter plus circular scale division is 25 into least count is 0.001 centimeter plus 0 error is 0.004 centimeter. So from here we get what? 0.5 plus 0.025 plus 0.004. 0.004. So what is the answer we are getting? 0.52 0.529 0.529 centimeter, the diameter of the ball. Okay, so in this way we can find the value of the circular scale by using screw gauge. Okay, so that is the only problem which was asked in the NEET exam. Okay, so you can understand how to find the values. Okay, now next is the vectors. Okay, now vectors is very important because the problems are directly asked in vectors. It will be useful in the topics also. Okay, now if you think of vectors, I may not go. Any doubt is there, you can ask me. 5.29 millimeter. Huh, that is also correct. No problem. Okay. Now, next is errors. Okay. Vectors. Okay. So, uh, okay, pitch. See, pitch is basically, see, if you look at this circular scale, so this circular scale has 100 division. This circular scale has 100 division. So let us suppose that when we are not measuring anything, okay, when we are not measuring anything, this anvil will be in contact with the spindle or not? It would be in contact with the spindle. Anvil is contact with the spindle. Now in that case, if there is no error in the instrument, then the zero of the circular scale will be exactly coinciding with the zero of the main scale, like this condition. Zero of the zero of the circular scale will be exactly coinciding with the reference line of the main scale reading. Okay, now in that case, if I rotate the circular scale in say anti-clockwise direction, then what will happen? This circular scale will rotate. Okay, now if circular scale has 100 division, if I completely rotate the circular scale by one complete rotation, means if I completely rotate by one complete rotation, then how much length it has covered in the main scale? That length which we have covered in the main scale is the pitch of the instrument. Understand? If I rotate this circular scale completely by one complete rotation, then how much it get displaced in the main scale? So in this case, how much it is getting displaced? 0.1 centimeter. Okay, 0.1 centimeter it is getting displaced. That is known as pitch here. Okay, that is known as pitch of the instrument. I hope you understood or not. So pitch is when you rotate the circular scale by one complete rotation, how much it get displaced on the linear scale. That is known as pitch. Okay, so in this case, the pitch is 0.1 centimeter divided by number of divisions. Okay, now vectors. Now vectors, I think we know about vectors, so I'll give you some brief introduction of vectors. Like basically, we have two quantities, vector quantities and scalar quantities. Okay, the vectors, scalar will have only magnitude. Scalar will have only magnitude. Magnitude. Vectors will have direction as well as magnitude and magnitude. Okay, then we have different type of vector like parallel vector. First one is parallel vector. Parallel vectors means what? If two vectors are have same magnitude and same directions, this is known as No, magnitude may or may not be same, but direction is always same. That is known as parallel vector. Second is anti-parallel vector. Anti-parallel vector. Anti-parallel vector means what? The two vectors may or may not have the same magnitude, but the direction is also different. Means if one vector is along this direction, other vector will be along this direction. Then they are known as anti-parallel vector. Third one is a collinear vector. Collinear means what? All the vectors are lying on the same point. So this is a vector, say this is your b vector, this is your c vector. So all the vectors are lying on the same point. Then fourth is coplanar vector. Coplanar vector. Coplanar vector, as a name suggests, that if we have xy plane like this, if we have an xy plane, then all the vectors which are lying on the same plane is known as coplanar vectors. Okay, these are known as coplanar vectors. Then we have a zero vector. Now, what is zero vector? The zero vectors are those vectors whose magnitude is zero. Whose magnitude is zero. It has no magnitude, and direction can be any direction. Direction can be any direction. It can have any direction, but the magnitude is zero. So now from name itself, we can understand zero vector means it has magnitude zero and direction as any vector, any direction. Seventh is unit vectors. Unit vectors has magnitude equal to 1, has magnitude equal to 1, and it shows directions. It shows directions. Okay, like to represent direction along x-axis, we use I cap. So I cap is the unit to vector along x-axis. Then we have j cap. J cap is the unit vector along the y-axis. Then we have z cap. Sorry, k cap. K cap is the unit vector uh, along the z-axis. So unit vector means whose magnitude is 1 and it shows only the directions. Okay. Now, how can we add two vectors? To add the two vectors, we have two laws. To add the two vectors, we have a parallelogram law of addition. Law of addition. Now, if you think of two vectors, like we had two vectors. One vector is A. One vector is A. Other vector is B. The angle between the vector is theta. Then the resultant of the two vectors will be the diagonal of the parallelogram. The resultant of the two vector is the diagonal of the parallelogram, whose magnitude will be given by, resultant magnitude will be given by a square root of a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. Okay, so when the two vectors are added, then the resultant vector magnitude will be equal to root of a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. And this resultant vector r will make some angle alpha from vector a. Then what is the value of that alpha? That value will be equal to tan alpha equal to b sine theta by a plus b cos theta. Okay, so the proof is also there, but I think you can find very easily, like this is your b vector now. Okay, this angle will be theta. We can find the value of this tan alpha, that b sine theta by a plus b cos theta. So if you can remember the formula also, then there is no problem in that. Okay, now second one is subtraction of the two vectors. Subtraction of the two vectors. Like if two vectors are given to you, a vector minus b vector, so we can write a vector minus b vector as what? A vector plus or minus of b vector. Okay, and the magnitude of resultant which we'll get. Okay, so this is a vector now, this is your b vector minus of b vector. Resultant of these will be somewhere here r, and the magnitude of r will be now square root of a square plus b square plus sorry minus a square plus b square minus minus 2ab cos theta. Okay, so when we are subtracting two vectors, it is a square plus b square minus 2ab cos theta. No, it is inside the whole square. Sorry, it is inside the whole square. Okay, it is not outside. Fine, it is inside the whole square. Okay, fine. Now, this resultant will make an angle of tan alpha will be equal to b sin theta divided by a minus b cos theta. Okay, so when the two vectors are subtracted, then the angle which resultant will make from a vector will be tan alpha, that is b sin theta divided by a minus b cos theta. Okay, fine. So simply you have to remember these two formulas. Okay, resultant of two vectors when they are added, that is a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta, where theta is what? Angle between a and b. Okay, so don't get confused here. Theta is the angle between a and b. Okay, and when the two vectors are subtracted, then it is a square plus b square minus 2ab cos theta, where theta is the angle between the two vectors. Okay, fine. Now we have unit vectors. Again, I discuss about unit vectors. Unit vectors are those vectors whose magnitude is 1. Unit vectors are those vectors whose magnitude is 1. Magnitude is 1. And it is represented by cap. Say a cap. A cap is equal to a vector by mod of a vector. Now, what is mod here? Mod is the magnitude of the a vector. Okay. So mod is the magnitude of the a vector. So if some vector is given to us, how to find magnitude first of all? Like if some vector is given to you, a vector, whose value is 2I cap plus 3j cap plus 4k cap. Okay. Then if I ask you what is a unit vector of a vector, so for to find the unit vector of a vector, first of all we need to find the magnitude of a vector. So magnitude of a vector will be equal to square root of 2 square plus 3 square plus 4 square. Simply you have to square all the component, that I cap, j cap and k cap. Okay, square root of 2 square plus 3 square plus 4 square. What value it will come? It will come around what? 4 plus 9, I mean 16 plus 4, 20, 20 plus 9, root 29. Fine. That is the magnitude of a vector. So therefore, unit vector a cap will be given by a vector, that is 2I cap plus 3j cap plus 4k cap divided by root of 29. Okay. That is how we can find the magnitude of the unit vector. Did you understand this or not? That a vector equal to, if a vector example is 2I cap plus 3j cap plus 4k cap, the magnitude of a vector will be root of 2 square plus 3 square plus 4 square. It will come as root 29. Therefore, unit vector will be equal to a vector by mod of a vector. Okay. Now we have discussed that the unit vector along the x-axis is given by I cap. So this represent what? I cap represent unit vector along x-axis. J cap represent unit vector along y-axis, and k cap represent unit vector along the unit vector along the z-axis. Okay, fine. Now we have discussed about the addition of the two vectors, subtraction of two vectors. Then we have multiplication of the two vectors. How the two vectors are multiply? What a multiplication of two vectors. Fine. So basically, we have two types of multiplication. One is scalar product or dot product. Okay. So if two vectors are given to us, like a vector and b vector, okay, and if we multiply the two vectors a and b, then the scalar product is given by a vector dot b vector equal to c vector. It is a scalar product, and the value which we are getting will be a scalar quantity. Will be a scalar quantity c. Okay. So C is the resultant when the two vectors are dot product, that is A dot B equal to C. Okay, and the resultant which we are getting is C, which is a scalar quantity. Now, how to find the value of A dot B? The A vector dot B vector is given by mod of A mod of B cos theta, where theta is angle between A and B vectors. Theta is the angle between A and B vector. So the dot product A dot B is given by mod of A plus mod into mod of B cos theta. By mod, wherever I'm writing the mod, it means that I am finding the magnitude of the A. Okay, so mod means magnitude of the A. So A dot B is equal to mod of A mod of B cos theta. So this is a scalar product of A dot B. Now, if I have to find like one example I'm giving to you. If I take one example, like we have two vectors. Say we have A vector, which is 2 I cap plus 3 j cap minus 4 k cap, and B vector is I cap minus 2 j cap plus k cap. How to find A vector dot B vector? Now, to find A vector dot B vector, A vector is 2 I cap plus 3 j cap minus 4 k cap dot of I cap minus 2 j cap plus k cap. Okay. Now, how to find the dot product? To find the dot product is very easy. Simply, you have to multiply with I with I. Means 2I into I will give 2I into I will give 2. Then 3 into minus 2 will give minus 6. Minus 4 into plus 4 will give minus 4. So value will come as how much? Minus 8. That is how we are multiplying A dot B. Simply you have to multiply 2 I vector with I vector. Means 2 into 1, 2. 3 into minus 2, minus 6. Minus 4 into 1, minus 4. So the value will come as minus 8. Now we can see that minus 8 is what? A scalar quantity. So when we have a dot product of two vectors A dot B, then the resultant will always come as scalar quantity. So this is a scalar quantity. Scalar quantity. Now there are some properties of scalar product. Okay, there are some properties of scalar product. Fine. First property is that A vector dot B vector is equal to B vector dot A vector. Both are same. That is a property of the scalar multiplication, that A dot B will be equal to B dot A. Okay. Second property is that if the two vectors are perpendicular, means if A vector is perpendicular to B vector, then the scalar product of A dot B will be 0. How it will be 0? Let us find that. Why it is 0? First of all, we know that A vector dot B vector is equal to mod of A mod of B cos of theta. It is correct or not? Mod of A mod of B cos theta. Now what was the theta? Theta was the angle between A and B. Since A and B are perpendicular, since A vector and B vector are perpendicular, the angle between them is 90 degree. So can we write as mod of A mod of B cos of 90 0. So answer should be 0. Okay, the answer should be 0. Okay, very good. So if the two vectors are perpendicular and we are finding a dot product, then the dot product of two vectors will be 0 if the two vectors are perpendicular. Okay. Now third case, third property. With the help of dot product, we can find angle between the two vectors. Angle between two vectors can be easily found with the help of dot product. Like we know that A dot B vector is equal to mod of A mod of B cos theta. So cos theta is the angle between the two vectors. So can we write here as what? Cos theta must be equal to A vector dot B vector by mod of A mod of B. So in this way we can find the angle between the two vectors. Okay, well we can take one example also, like in previous example we have taken like this one. Okay, let us take one example for this. Say, okay, like if one vector is say I cap plus 2 j cap plus 3 k cap, and B vector is say minus I cap plus 2j cap plus k cap. Okay, then we have to find the angle between the two vectors. To find the angle between the two vectors, we have to find cos theta. Cos theta must be equal to a vector dot b vector by mod of a mod of b. Now a dot b, how to find a dot b? Simply you have to multiply I with I. So if we multiply here 1 into minus 1 plus 2 into 2 4 plus 3 into 1 3 into 1 3 divided by mod of a. So mod of a, how we have to find? The mod of a is given by square root of 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square. That will come as how much? 1 plus 4 plus 9. That is root of 14. And mod of b will be equal to how much? That is 1 square plus 2 square plus 1 square. That is 4 plus 5 plus 6 root of 6. So we get mod of a equal to root 14. Mod of b is equal to root 6. This value will come as how much? 6. So we get root 6 by root 14 is cos theta. So theta will be equal to cos inverse of root 6 by root 14. In this way, we can find the value of angle between the two vectors if we know the dot product of two vectors. Okay, fine. Now, next is the vector. Now, next is another type of multiplication is vector product. Vector product. Now, vector product is represented by a vector cross b vector. A vector cross b vector. And what is the value of a cross b? The value of a vector cross b vector is given by a b mod of a mod of b sine theta n cap. Now, what is n cap here? N cap is the, since vector product, from name itself we can understand it's a vector product, it should have one direction also. N cap represent the direction of the vector. Like if I take a plane, if I take xy plane like this, okay, in xy plane we have two vectors, say a vector and b vector. Then a cross b, magnitude will be, magnitude of a vector cross b vector will be equal to mod of a mod of b sine theta, and direction will be given by, if we, by thumb rule, by right hand thumb rule. If you have to place the hand on the vector a and curl the fingers towards the b, curl the finger towards the b, the thumb will show direction upward. So this direction will give you the vector direction n cap. Okay, fine. That is how we are finding the direction of the vector product. Okay, now one thing is the vector product, the direction will always be perpendicular to the plane in which the two vectors are given to us. Okay, it will always be perpendicular to the plane of the two vectors which are given to us. Okay, now did you understand this or not? Okay, there are some important point regarding vector. First point is that a cross b is not equal to b cross a, or we can write like this: a cross b is equal to minus time of b cross a. Why? See, if you look at this example, to find the direction we have to place the finger at a, then we have to rotate the fingers towards the b. The thumb shows the direction of vector a cross b. So a cross b vector will be n cap plus n cap. Now if I take the same example, same vectors like b vector here and a vector here, okay, now b cross a means what? We have to place the finger at b and curl towards the a. So when we curl towards the a, the the direction will be up, will be along this direction, that is minus n cap. Okay, so from here we can say that a cross b vector will be equal to minus time of b cross a. Okay, fine. That is the vector product of two quantities. Okay, fine. So in this way we are finding the vector products. Now let us do some problems here. Like first problem is that if the magnitude of sum of two vectors equal to magnitude of difference of two vectors, then what is the angle between the two vector? Okay, A magnitude of sum of two vectors equal to the magnitude of difference of two vectors. Okay. So let us suppose we have two vectors, A vector and B vector. So what is the magnitude of sum of two vectors? So if you take two vectors, magnitude will be resultant R. So if the two vectors are added, the resultant will be equal to what? Root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. This is a resultant when the two vectors are added. Is equal to magnitude of difference of two vector. Difference of two vector means A vector minus B vector. So what is the resultant value of A cross A minus B vector? That is A square plus B square plus 2AB, sorry, minus 2AB cos theta. So if we square on both the side, we get what? A square B square will get cancel out. We get 0 equal to 4AB cos theta, which is equal to cos theta equal to 0, where theta will be equal to 90 degree. Okay, so when the theta is equal to 90 degree, then the magnitude of A plus B and A minus B are both same. Okay, that is the solution of first problem. Okay, this problem was asked in 2016 NEET exam. Second problem, the two vectors, did you understand this or not? First part, when the magnitude of two vectors A plus B is equal to magnitude of difference of two vectors. Magnitude of A vector is A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. The magnitude of difference is A square plus B square minus 2AB cos theta. Okay. Now second problem. Second problem is a bit conceptual type. Like if the vectors A and B are such that A dot B equal to 0, A dot B is equal to 0 and A dot C is equal to 0, then the vector parallel to vector A is. Okay. Now previous problem. Okay. See, in previous problem, I'll explain again. Okay. Okay. The magnitude of two vectors, sum of two vectors A and B is equal to magnitude of difference of two vectors. Okay. Now if you assume two vectors here, A and B vector, if we assume two vectors A and B, let us suppose we have two vectors, A vector and B vectors. Okay. Then A plus B vector, let us suppose resultant is R. What is the magnitude of A plus B vector? In previous slide we have already done. The resultant of two vector will be equal to A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. Correct now. Second part is that A vector minus B vector. Let us suppose resultant is R dash. That is equal to A square plus B square minus 2AB cos theta. Now in the problem they are telling you that the sum of two vectors, the magnitude of sum of two vectors, the magnitude of sum of two vectors is root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta is equal to magnitude of difference of two vector. Difference of two vectors is A square plus B square minus 2AB cos theta. Both are equal, means R equal to R dash. So if you equate both the case, we get A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta must be equal to A square plus B square minus 2AB cos theta. Okay, A square, B square cancel out, we'll get what? 0 equal to 4AB cos theta. So we get theta equal to 90 degree. Okay, I hope you understand this problem or not. Okay, next is I think we are running out of time. So let us discuss this problem, then we end the session here. Vectors A and B, C are such that A dot B is equal to 0 and A dot C equal to 0. Okay, A dot B equal to 0 means what? Like in the previous problem I did, A dot B is 0 when A is perpendicular to B. We can get one information that A dot B equal to 0 means A is perpendicular to B. And A dot C is equal to 0 means what? A is perpendicular to C. Correct now? Which means A is perpendicular to both B and C. So if I take a plane, in which we have two vectors, B vector and C vector, then vector A will be perpendicular to both the vectors B and C. Will be perpendicular to both the vectors B and C. Now, if I find the B cross C value, the direction of B cross C, the direction of B cross C vector will be perpendicular to both B and C. Okay, so if I take the cross product of B cross C, it will have unit vector which is perpendicular to both B and C. Fine. Now from here we can get the answer that then the vector parallel to A. Now A vector will be parallel to n cap or not? It will be parallel to n cap because n cap is direction of B cross C, and which is perpendicular to both B and C. A is also perpendicular to both B and C, which means A is parallel to B. So the answer for this question will be that A is parallel to B vector cross C vector. That was the question answer. Okay. So I think the time is running out. Okay. So let us leave this now. Tomorrow we'll discuss more problems on. So tomorrow we'll discuss more problem on these vectors. Okay. If you have any doubt, you can ask now. If you have any doubt, you can message me now. Okay. So let us. Okay. Tenth slide. Tenth slide is this one. This is simply the introduction of vector. The parallel vectors. Parallel vectors are those vectors which have same direction. Anti-parallel means different direction, opposite direction. Collinear means it start from same point. Coplanar means if we take a plane, then all the vectors will lie on the same plane. Okay, fine. Okay, so let us leave this session now. Tomorrow I'll discuss the remaining problem of vectors. Then we'll go for kinematics in one dimension. Okay, thank you all.